Well, I received a monster intel report literally 5 minutes ago. So, what we're going to do today is something that we already did earlier this week. I'm going to go through the intel report with you. I didn't even have time to read the whole thing. So, I'm going to be reading parts of it with you for the first time. And what Mr. Z said is absolutely true. We receive high quality, extra sensitive intel. It could be anytime, literally every day. Sometimes it could be 1 hour and then there's another hour, there's another phone call. This is how it works. So it has to be very, very clear to all of you that this is undiluted, high quality intel straight from the source. So it's up to us to analyze this intel, digest it, pass it to you, or in this case, like today, we go through it together. Because, of course, there are some points that are immensely sensitive. So please bear with us that this is rarely being done anywhere in any sort of media. And if you have your criticisms, of course, I love listening to constructive criticism, not name calling or a character assassination. Okay, so let's get down to the nitty gritty. Uh, the war moving towards a decisive phase. Well, this is I would say this is the understatement of the century. Yes, we are in a decisive phase, especially because we are, I would say, close to 2 weeks before a key red line. By mid August, according to the most authoritative reports, there will be a red light concerning the depletion of the American strategic petroleum reserves. Everybody knows this by now, including, we expect, the President of the United States. So anything apocalyptic, absurd, foolish, surrealist, or all of the above could happen within the next 2 weeks. And this is where we are now. It's a very dangerous crossroads. And this is a crossroads that is becoming even more dangerous because even the deciding circles among this extremely mediocre American administration, perhaps some of these nodes are starting to understand that there are less than zero good options ahead. There is still one off ramp, which is not completely out of the picture, but it's shrinking not day by day, but hour by hour. And now it's practically, and this coming from the Iranian leadership, it's practically, I would say that this is practically settled, that they are not convinced that the MOU from now on will be a viable option because the Americans are breaking it from the beginning. After they signed, they broke it again. They never fulfilled a single commitment among the 14 points outlined in the MOU. And there's absolutely no trust whatsoever by leader Moshtaba Khamenei, by the members of the Supreme National Security Council, by the political leadership, Kalibaf, Arakshi, everybody else, by the Ministry of Foreign Relations, by IRGC generals, by the industrial military complex, and by 90 million Iranians, the whole Iranian population, practically, that it's absolutely impossible to have a diplomatic negotiation with the United States. And that's very complicated because it transfers the possible solution to this war to the battlefield. And once again, both wars, which are the same war, merge. This is the conclusion that the Russians finally arrived at only a few weeks ago when they discovered that the so called spirit of anchorage was buried, was dead and buried, and it was buried by the Americans. And that's what's leading, for instance, their top diplomat, the most able diplomat on the planet, Sergei Lavrov, to say that yes, this war by proxy of NATO against us in Ukraine will be decided in the battlefield. So this conclusion has been reached we can say with 95% or maybe 99% certainty by the deciding powers in Tehran. Okay, this is very, very important. According to our intel report, which is basically reproducing what I just told you, Tehran has concluded that Washington will not honor the Islamabad MOU. Absolutely correct. It took them a while. They gave it a chance. They signed, President Pezeshkian signed the MOU. The American president signed it. They were waiting for Americans to comply with the commitments. Nothing happened. They started a new bombing campaign against Iran, lasting 13 days. Now they want to start another campaign, as the vociferator in chief in Washington, Mar-a-Lago, keeps saying. So there's no room for the MOU, which means that all the hard work put on by the fundamentally Pakistani mediators, but with contributions from Qatar and Oman as well, unfortunately might be going down the drain. But this is the reality. These are established facts. This is not guesswork and this is not wishful thinking. So, the Iranian strategy, which is something that I wrote about this week, I wrote 3 columns back to back this week. Basically saying, among other things, including the new Yemen Saudi Arabia front, that according to the intel report, a deliberate campaign to make the American basing architecture across the Gulf progressively unusable before the mid-August decision point. Absolutely. It's another way of saying it that, yes, in 2 weeks, the Iranian strategy is to expel or destroy or expel Pentagon and CENTCOM from most of the Persian Gulf bases and also beyond, because that includes Erbil in Iraq and Jordan. And that's why these bases have been pounded over and over again. And the ones that are not destroyed are on the process of being completely destroyed. So when Iran attacks I would say, the brains of CENTCOM operations in Jordan, and this was a major, major hit this week, they forced the Americans to basically relocate the planning and the coordination of all their bases in the Persian Gulf to a different location. And guess where is this different location? The death cult, Israel. And what does that mean? It means that the Iranians managed to relocate the whole infrastructure ecosystem apparatus of the Americas to the locations that they wanted to be in the first place. Israel. They put Israel inside the box. This is the headline. So now they can attack all these nodes inside Israel, and they know where they are at will when they want it. And sooner rather than later, they won't even have to bother about these American ecosystem scattered all across the Persian Gulf. This is a brilliant military strategy executed with perfection in a matter of only a few weeks. And this is the Pentagon, CENTCOM are absolutely bonkers about that. It's not even that meeting last Friday, 1 week ago exactly, where some generals with an IQ over room temperature told Trump about what was going on with the American bases and the fact that they have no way out. So it's getting worse and worse by the minute. So the possibility of a so-called gates of hell operation by the United States against Iran is shrinking. Of course, in this next period of 2 weeks, roughly, all sorts of absurdities can come to light. Apocalyptic, surrealist, stupid, foolish, desperate, you name it. But a big, big, big American offensive against Iran is unlikely. And they don't even have the intelligence and the hardware and the software to do it, and how to conduct it properly without being counterattacked massively, which means a counterattack against Israel inside Israel. So this is only one part of what we have.